Good. Okay. Welcome, Council, and we have Councillor Ted Sheneman online with us tonight. Councillor Peter Kistemaker and Councillor Drago Stefanik have sent their regrets for this meeting, so if I can get a mover and a seconder to open the meeting. Moved by Councillor Belinda Kistemaker, second by Councillor Ted Sheneman. Be it resolved that we do call this regular meeting of Council to order on Wednesday, July 12th, 2023 at 6 p.m. And if there's no objections, we'll continue. Item number 2 is the land acknowledgement. And Belinda, if you could, please.
The Council of the Corporation of the Township of Hornepayne would like to begin by respectfully acknowledging that the land on which we gather here today is the Treaty 9, 1905-1906 territory, the traditional lands of Indigenous peoples. As we work towards reconciliation, may we all live with respect on this land and live in peace and friendship with all its diverse peoples.
Thank you, Councillor. And continuing on to item 3, there's no changes. Item 4 is to approve the agenda. If I can get a mover and a seconder, please. Moved by Councillor Belinda Kistemaker, second by Councillor Ted Sheneman. Be it resolved that Council does hereby approve the agenda as presented. And if there's no objection, we'll continue. Declaration of pecuniary interest and declaration of conflict of interest. You can do that, Council, now or any time throughout the meeting. I don't have any paperwork as of such, so we'll continue. Item number 6.1 is the regular meeting of June 21st. If I can get a mover and a seconder, please. Moved by Councillor Belinda Kistemaker, second by Councillor Ted Sheneman. Be it resolved that the Council of the Corporation of the Township of Hornepayne does hereby adopt the minutes of the regular meeting of Council held on Wednesday, June 21st, 2023 is distributed. Any comment or clarification on the minutes? There being none, I put those to a vote. Those in favor? And that is carried, none opposed. And item 6.2 is the regular meeting of Council June 28th. If I can get a mover and a seconder, please. Moved by Councillor Belinda Kistemaker, second by Councillor Ted Sheneman. Be it resolved that Council of the Corporation of the Township of Hornepayne does hereby adopt the minutes of the regular meeting of Council held on Wednesday, June 28th, 2023 is distributed. Any comment or clarification on those minutes? There being none, I put those to a vote. Those in favor? And that is carried, none opposed. Okay, item 7.1 is business arising from the minutes, and that was the transfer of surplus funds to reserves. We were looking for clarification on the items that we wanted to put the money in. So if I can get a mover and a seconder for the motion, and then we can discuss. Moved by Councillor Belinda Kistemaker, second by Councillor Ted Sheneman. Whereas the municipal auditor, BDO Canada LLP, has identified a surplus of $74,509 in the 2022 municipal operating budget and a surplus of $12,145 in the library budget. And whereas Council deems it expedient and responsible to place the surplus in reserve funds for future use, therefore be it resolved that the Council of the Corporation of the Township of Hornepayne does hereby authorize the Client Services Manager Treasurer to transfer the surplus into the following reserves: $21,100 into the Airport Reserve, $829.28 into the Community Wellbeing Reserve, $52,579.72 in the Levy Stabilization Reserve, and $12,145 into the Library Reserve. Any comment on the motion? There being none, I'll put that to a vote. Those in favor? And that is carried, none opposed. Okay, we have a few presentations and discussion tonight. The first one is the OCWA presentation. And we have Patrick Couture with us online. Hi, Patrick. Nice to see you tonight. Glad to have you here.
Nice to see you all too. Thank you for having me.
Okay. Yeah. And does Patrick need sharing capabilities and all of that? Is that set up? He should have them. Okay, I'll just give you the floor, Patrick. You're welcome to start. Go ahead, Eileen.
Sorry, I just wanted to mention as well, Patrick actually relayed this message to me, but
Okay.
I wanted to let council know if they have any questions, it'll be noted and taken down, and then sent, Patrick or Aqua will be able to respond via written response via email.
Okay, sounds good. Okay, the floor is yours, Mr. Couture.
So tonight we're going to discuss the Dechlorination Project Council Report. The Ontario Clean Water Agency is pleased to submit a report to Council to provide an alternative option to the UV for the Hornepayne wastewater plant for chlorine removal. In November 2019, a feasibility study was received by EXP with 3 treatment options to remove the chlorine residual from the Hornepayne wastewater effluent. 3 options were dechlorination, ultraviolet, and ozone. EXP's recommendation was to proceed with installing an ultraviolet system. The township approved moving forward with the installation of a UV system at the projected budget of $1,104,874. After receiving the bids back from tender, we found that the pricing had gone up a great deal due to the COVID-19 pandemic. We received 2 bids, one at approximately $2,600,000 and one at approximately $5,400,000. The Township of Hornepayne has elected to not move forward with the UV project at this time and has elected to look at different options. ACKWA met with the Township of Hornepayne to discuss the current pricing point on the UV system, while also discussing other options that have come to light. ACKWA has recently been made aware of a packaged plant that utilizes a chemical dechlorination system that could be installed for less upfront costs. The Township of Hornepayne has asked ACKWA to provide feedback on the proposed option to Council to ensure Council has all the required information to be able to decide on how to move forward. ACKWA has completed a site visit with SCG Process, the company that provides these package plants. The purpose of the meeting was to ensure that the Hornepayne wastewater facility is a good candidate for this type of dechlorination process. After reviewing the assessment from SCG Process, it was determined that Hornepayne wastewater facility would be a good candidate for this treatment process. SCG Process is a provider of smart solutions for water, wastewater, and process applications for the delivery of customized design packages. The design package includes fiberglass reinforced polymer building that will come pre-packaged, fully assembled, pre-plumbed, and pre-wired. Scope includes a supply of structural and electrical drawings stamped by a professional engineer licensed in Ontario. Additional construction requirements include external electrical connections of power supply and control wiring, tank vent piping, and exterior plumbing, as well as unloading and building the installation on the concrete pad. Although ACKWA cannot accurately predict the overall cost of dechlorination project, similar projects have come completed turnkey for less than $1 million. Current chemical costs for dechlorination for 2022 was around $15,000, keeping in mind that some chemical carryover from 2021. The current project would have to be terminated and a new project started. ACKWA proposes third-party project management to support the Township of Hornepayne throughout the project. An engineering firm is to be procured to complete the design for tie-in of the building and to complete all necessary amendments to the environmental compliance approval. The engineering firm would also complete the tender package if there are other contractors that provide the same service for the work to be completed to prepare for the package plant installation. Once pricing comes back, contractors are to be selected for the commencement of the construction phase. The goal would be to complete the project in the summer of 2024. ACKWA is currently operating the temporary dechlorination system at this time to ensure that the wastewater system's effluent regulation is met. The new system would dose chemical on a paste-to-flow basis, which would allow for optimization of chemical use and could also potentially reduce chemical costs compared to the temporary system that is now in place. Thank you. If you have any questions or concerns, please reach out to us. Our emails are provided.
Thank you, Patrick, for your presentation. I'm going to open up the floor now for questions. You're good? Councillor Sheneman, do you have any questions? Oh, I'm sorry, I can't hear you. You're on mute.
Sorry, we're fine. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Okay, great. I just had a couple of questions.
Sure.
The first one was this new project's gonna, currently right now we're estimating $1 million. Did that include the procurement of an engineering firm, or is that above that million?
That's a very good question. I personally, I'm not sure of the answer to that. That's something I can relay to Pat Albert, but I would assume that those costs would be included.
Okay, we just need to find that out because it sounds good if it's $1 million, but in the layout of the presentation, it seemed that they could be on top of those dollars.
Right.
And if we're getting close to the 2.6 million, my understanding is that the UV system on a yearly rate is less expensive to run than going with this treatment option. Would I be correct in assuming that?
That's hard to say. I don't have the figures in front of me, those costs annually. So I can't answer that question at this time, but I'd be definitely able to look that up for you and get that back to you as soon as we can.
Okay, because where I'm thinking, where my brain's going, Patrick, is we're going to get close to the 2.6 million, putting this alternative treatment option in place. We may as well go with our initial 2.6 million project then.
Well, I mean, just from experience, I know that there are annual costs with UV. There are lamp replacement costs, annual maintenance costs, breakdown costs, emergency costs for disruptions in the automation that can't be really foreseen. Those things are all something that you want to take in consideration when making this decision. There is no project where you're going to be able to set it and forget it. There's always going to be some annual cost. So in saying that, it would be definitely a great idea to look into what your annual cost would be for both projects and then do a cost analysis and see where you'd be, say in 5-10 year range, maybe even 10, 15 to 20 year range, because the cost of chemicals will only increase annually. It's never going to go down. So as you continue to use thiosulfate and becomes, or whatever chemical they choose for this project, those costs will continue to increase annually, even, at a slight rate or like we've seen with COVID. Anything can happen where we're seeing like 40% increases depending on what's going on in the economy and all that. So it's definitely something you should consider.
Okay, great. And you can bring those numbers back to us?
Yeah, I'll relay this all to Patrick Albert and he'll bring those to you. Okay,
and then for the treatment option that you've given with this container coming in, that's all design package, it includes everything. What's the life expectancy of this equipment?
That's a great question. I don't have the answer to that at this time, but that's something that we can put on paper and get the answer back to you as soon as possible.
Okay, and we'll need the life expectancy of the UV project too, because we, just for our loans, we can stretch it out based on that capital asset, right?
Right.
So we need to know both when we're making the judgment.
Okay.
I think that's all my questions for now. I really thank you for looking into this because it blew us away when it came in at 2.6, 5.4, like, we can't tax people anymore. That it's just crazy. So we have to find different solutions. And I thank ACWA for doing that for us and being proactive and looking at it too and saying, look, there are different solutions too.
Yeah, it's a very difficult decision to make, but definitely what we've seen in other places with the dechlorination, it's a it's definitely a lower upfront cost, but the annual costs and the future costs, you know, those are things that you need to be able to project and kind of analyze and see where that's going to take you in terms of the UV or the chemical dechlorination.
Okay, I remember back when XP had done that report, like the UV came out ahead, way far ahead of the other two choices at that time.
Yeah, and things have just changed so much in the last few years with the cost of material, especially with computer components, electronic components. All these things have become, you know, extremely long lead times, much higher costs than they were, you know, 3-4 years ago. And we're just seeing a dramatic increase in all these types of things, and it's very frustrating and difficult to maneuver around.
Yeah, I agree. We have a few projects we're having trouble with. So if we do want to do something next year, when is the final, like when will council have to make the choice to ensure that we have the loan in place, that we have everything in place to make this happen for Hornepayne?
Well, that's a great question. That's something else I will relay as well, and we'll get back to you with that as soon as possible.
Okay, that would be great, because then we can work back from that date and make sure we have all our answers so that we have that decision made so that we're not delayed. Because is it because right now we're just getting extensions on this, being allowed to run it the way we are, right?
Right.
And have they given us a final date on that extension?
I don't have that information with me at the time, but that's something else
Okay.
we'll get back to you as well.
Okay, yeah, and then if because at some point they're gonna say you have to do something, right? We don't want to get to that point. We want to have it done and say, look, thank you for the extensions, and we did it.
Yeah. Right now, we're currently just running this temporary system. We're meeting the regulations. You know, we're keeping the chlorine dechlorinated and just holding on at the moment. But you know, it's not a forever thing, and we do have to find a solution.
Okay. Well, I'll leave you to converse with Eileen and figure out when it's good to come back to council. We are changing our budgeting process this year, so we're doing budgeting in November and December. So for this, we should have some sort of figures in place by then from our timelines so that we can make those decisions and ensure that they're included with our budget, okay?
Okay, excellent.
Okay, thank you, Patrick.
Thank you for having me.
And before you go, I should open the floor just one last time to council. Do you have any further questions or comments, council? No, we're good?
No, we're good. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Shemin. Okay, thank you, Patrick. You have a good night.
Thank you very much for having me. Take care.
Take care.
Bye now.
Okay, if I can get a mover and a seconder for the ACWA presentation, please. Moved by Councillor Ted Cheneman, second by Councillor Belinda Kistemaker. Be it resolved that the Council of the Corporation of the Township of Hornepayne does hereby acknowledge receipt of the Hornepayne Dechlorination Report to Council as prepared and presented by Patrick Couture, Senior Operations Manager, Ontario Clean Water Agency, ACWA. Those in favor? And that is carried, none opposed. Okay, the next thing on our agenda is the open discussion on recreation user fees. Did you want to speak to anything first, Eileen?
Yes, I
Okay,
just
go ahead.
wanted to ask, a request from council. If council can please provide direction for the public skating passes as well, which is based on the treasurer's, the last report she wrote, which is linked on here, and it's the 2023-06 recreation user fees report. And just if they can advise staff on how they'd like to proceed with those passes as well.
Okay, thank you. So there's definitely a need to do something with the annual fee or a monthly fee. We were looking at, I had some questions when we did our agenda review on this council about if you look at the new report and the schedule that was given with the new report, it's from the bylaw, it's 2 pages.
You also have that.
Do I have it in my file? Oh, there we go. Thank you, Jen. So if you notice on, so it's page 21 and 24 of the Schedule I, you'll notice down on youth organized summer sports, youth summer date, like we do have per season for some things, and we don't have a per season for other things, and we don't have a monthly for any of the recreation except for the weight training and shinny. And so I do think there is a discussion to be had. It was probably overlooked because we did such a big user fee, looked at everything. So I'm going to open up the floor first to discussion of council, and then I'll open up the floor to the public. Linda, go ahead.
I'm just kind of wondering if we're looking at this kind of wrong. I like that we have a schedule, and I like the work that everyone did in your percentages and all that kind of stuff. But I also was wondering if we had a rec director in play, or if we had a recreation committee in play, I would say our fee structure would be something like something as your basis on what your fees should be around. And if we were marketing our programs, because it is all marketing, and I'm hoping I'm saying this right, if we know what they should be around, but if we were marketing our product, would we be marketing and advertising it differently? Like, would we have like package deals for different events, or such as your ball hockey or your soccer or whatever? And would we have a free night for everyone? Would that make a difference? Would you have like a package where your family would be able to sign up for a week or a month or a season pass or something like that? If we were looking at this a little bit differently, would it make a huge difference?
No, that's great. I just want to reiterate some of what you said. So just going from just what you just said about packaging for monthly, weekly for the family. So you're thinking like an all-inclusive payment, and then you get access to everything? Is that what you're thinking?
It's just that, like, I'm going to take one during the summer, for instance. If we had a package for the week, let's just say, people go away for so many weeks during the summer, they would be able to look at what kind of deals they would benefit their family at that time. So they don't feel like they're being ripped off in one area compared to another. And I'm just thinking, like, if let's just say we had a rec director here, if he was part of the thing, would he be looking, or she be looking for a different kind of promotion to get people out and into the facility? But what I like about is we have a structure, and the structure is good for everyone to figure out to, they would go to that to figure out how they're going to do their financing part. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so there'd be more
are we
options.
looking at this a little bit off?
Okay. So when you look at the fee schedule right now, are you thinking that there's possibly the missing the per week and then the per month and then the
Exactly,
annual?
yes. So, they have more choices for their family, so they're not feeling like they're, I don't want to make people's jobs difficult within the township, but I'm just wondering if we were, I'm going to say, rebranding in another way, would we be looking at this a different way?
Right, right. And I really like the comment of the free nights. And is that something we need to know? Can we put that at the, label so many that are free every year, and then we put that at staff? Like they can decide when that happens?
Yeah,
Like,
it
can
would
we
be like
put that into our user fee schedule? Because I like that idea. And we do it because we've done, I think on Winterfest, we do like the free night skates and stuff, right?
Yeah, and it would be part of your events,
Right.
and what you're doing. with your programs. I'm just wondering if we're overthinking this, and I don't know.
No, thank you. I think there's quite a bit there to think about. And I do like the idea of having packages where families can look at it and decide best financially what's benefits them. Maybe it's a family that wants to play sports all summer, but they alternate weeks. Even though they're not going away, their kids still get the benefit of seeing everyone all summer, but they can't afford every week. But then it gives a benefit. That might, I could see that too. Councillor Sheneman?
Yes, thank you, Madam Mayor. One of the concerns I think that we need to make sure we take is township staff and how we can make the best of our township staff use and hours to make sure that we're not paying just specifically for that arena program or for that program, to be able to make sure that we can take advantage of on-duty staff. Because as soon as we start to designate a staff member up there, our numbers are going to go all out of skew. That would be my biggest thought process on that. Thank you.
Okay. Currently with the staff, we are managing the program as set out. Like if we were to change the fee schedule to make it more easily accessible for some families, do you see that as being a problem for staff?
I'm going to ask if
Yeah, for sure.
Should be no issue. Patrick's pretty much the only one up there right now, and he has hours available to fit in there that way and leave overtimes or anything.
Okay, and we've already budgeted for all of those hours for him?
Yeah.
Okay.
I sure would like to hear from the public.
Yeah. Do we have anyone online as well? From the public?
can you,
I can check, but the other sounds strange.
Well, they won't be able to converse though unless they're with us, right?
We have Michelle Ford.
Okay. Okay, I think it is a good idea to open up the floor for public discussions. And Michelle is online?
Yes, I'm not sure if she's watching or wanting to.
Okay. Could we direct message her? Are you able to do that to find out?
We have messaging all on here.
Okay.
Well, we could direct it by hand if anyone wants to speak virtually.
Okay.
I was just going to say that.
Yeah, go ahead.
Not only as staff, but as a parent whose children do attend up there, which I think is great. There's nothing wrong if you would, like in Melissa's report, she stated years back, they did have like an individual, a senior, and other like packages where you could purchase per season or per week or per month. That was, I don't know why it was discontinued, but that could be easily implemented as well as at any discount, like you say, for a family. But if you just look at the costs, which was one of the big issues, back in 2016, like a season pass for public skiing was $120. So from 2016 to now, you need to consider making the packages more realistic, not giving them away, like a season pass should, and anywhere you look in surrounding communities, you're gonna have to pay if you want a family, whether you're an individual. The prices kind of have to go up a little bit compared to our, as was stated and was referred to, and also noted from Henson, who did the review, that our prices have not increased since 2017, 2018. So that's something to consider, which if you want to have a family package or the fees kind of have to go up more than I think the $37.50 we had for a whole year. That's something really to consider. And me as a parent whose child goes out there, I mean, I have no issue paying $5 a kid, really, because I think it's a great service. And people that have multiple children, it may become a little more expensive, but then again, I just think $5 is hours of entertainment for your children. And, I have no issue, and, I recall, the last meeting as well, issuing refunds if anything was ever implemented as of today, if anything. Issuing refunds, there are never ever receipts issued, so I'm not sure how you're ever gonna refund people with no receipts.
I heard that, yeah.
So I mean, if something is implemented, it should be effective now going forward, rather than, I don't know how the system's gonna work to get, and you can't take a verbal, hey, my kid was there this day, do I get a refund? You know, it's, more realistic to kind of set it, if you set it, it would be from now going forward. But I think probably packages is great because some children do want to be there all summer, and then they can just pick and choose when they want to go, right? So. I think that was about it. Just from the side of, because I see both sides, right? Then, I mean,
Yeah.
it's great to see packages, and if that's what the people want, that's what we should open that up again, because we have had it in the past, packages, and that would be easily just to determine the pricing, the realistic pricing, and, moving forward and implementing it.
Okay, thank you. And thank you for taking the time to come out and talk to us tonight. We appreciate it. We do.
We really do.
Yeah.
But like Karen and I love the top programs out there, and like I said, I have no issue with the current prices either. I'll give them $10 to go buy candy, to give them $5 to go and play for 4 or 5 hours, that's peanuts.
Okay. And I think we do have someone online. If you're online and would like to speak, you can raise your hand. I'm not seeing anything right now, so. Okay, so I think what we need to decide is, what we would do the increase, or if we're going to do different passes, what they would look like. And what costs we want to associate with those. Okay. So I'm thinking it would be 3 passes for 3 different, because we have youth summer day camp and then youth organized summer sports league. And it's the summer open sport for youth as well, right? Because those are the 3 that we want to.
This is for the,
Well, I'm just thinking if we're gonna implement for 1, we should look at 4, right? There's this, and then the one that Melissa wants to go public skating in the winter. Okay, so council, the first decision we should look at is, do we want to do different packages? Do we want to implement something by the week and by the month that correlates to the dollars that we already have? Yes?
Yeah.
Councillor Shannon?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, so we're looking for a weekly, monthly, and then it would be annual as well. Okay, so the first one we'll go through is the skating, just because we had that report first. Go ahead. Ellen.
sorry, Mayor Ford, I was just going to mention that I wouldn't be, I don't know if it'd be annual, it might be by season.
Or by season.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. So going from, I'm on page 3 of Melissa's report from June the 28th. And we're looking at the public skating individual seniors and 4 years and under. So these are the figures that were adopted in 2016. So with our, just to clarify then, with public skating, for right now, when we did these user fees, we didn't adopt a monthly or season there. Or am I missing it? It says per season, the $26.55 for the skating pass? Okay.
Yeah, so it's just,
Okay. If you look on that same page 3 of the report of the arena summer programs and public skating user fees, do you see that table that's been made for us at the bottom?
Which one are we looking for?
This is the, it looks
Oh,
like
okay,
this.
all right.
It's page 3 of the report from June 28th. Yeah. So we would have the same rate per session would stay the same. Actually, it would increase slightly. Let's get in per session. But then we would have the month and the season. There isn't a weekly one in this, what the staff recommends. Councillor Shinneman, go ahead.
Sorry, Madam Mayor. I'm looking online on the agenda notes, and I'm not sure I'm on the right page with you. So I don't think our numbering matches. Are we online? Maybe to Eileen through you. Page 21 of 24, public skating fees. Is that the table we're looking at?
You're on page, you should be on page 58.
Yeah, I do not
Are you on
see
the-
anything. I'm looking on the agenda notes, so I do not have anything that goes up to page 58 that I can see unless I'm looking, and I've looked at all
Go
three
ahead.
that are in the,
You said that you're looking at the bylaw, right? We're looking at page 3 of Melissa's report, 2023-06.
Oh, okay, I see it.
oh,
You
okay,
found it?
there, okay,
Have it?
okay, thank you. Yes, thank you.
Okay, so you got it too? Okay, well, I'll give you a few minutes to look over that page, and the only thing is if we're adding a weekly, we'll have to add that in the table. Go ahead, Ted.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. When we look at when we change it, if we add a weekly in, are we creating more work for staff than what the benefit would be when we do this? Are we creating more work than is necessary? Because then do we take that month and we divide it by 4.23, like the actual amount of weeks? Like, are we nickel and diming and causing our staff a lot more work than what is necessary?
Okay, thank you for that, Ted. We'll find out. Yes,
I was just going to actually say that Shannon's hand is up as well, but I would like to speak to Ted's or Councillor Gentleman's comments, sorry. I would recommend just going with what's there that the treasurer had recommended, so per season, per month, per session. Just, I'm not sure if we would like to add the weekly, but I would go with the recommendations just because it seems that's what's worked in the past. And I'm not sure if a weekly, like it's per session, which is if we went with it, if council chose to go with a 10% increase, it'd be $5.50 instead of $5. But I just wanted to put that in and then just.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, go ahead.
I'm gonna speak to the same thing, both Councilor Shipman and Eileen. And Melissa's recommendation, because when you do throw in a weekly pass, you need a tracking system. So how are you gonna track from what day to what day? And it's gonna create mass confusion, and you need somebody bringing in a card each time, in which I know people not necessarily have their passes on them all the time. So you're taking somebody's word for it. I think a weekly would just throw a mass confusion in. And as well, I think that if you throw a fee in, it's almost more worthwhile when you go price-wise to buy a month, because when you go week by week, like for example, $60 a month, you can charge $25 a week. So you're better off buying a month than weeks individual. But I just go for the tracking purpose of it. I'm not sure who's going to issue. Somebody's walking in on Monday to Monday or Monday to Sunday. It's going to be Wednesday to, and I know with the fitness facility and the new program with Interis that we have gone through, that was an issue. And that's why you just go from, they have their daily, their monthly, and their annual. Because I think it just works better, and like as Melissa recommended, better that way. And it would create, I think, a lot more work for tracking.
Okay, thank you for that.
I still think we're looking at this wrong. It's
Yeah.
just, like, everything you've got is there, is good. It's a guideline, and you should follow those guidelines. I think what's going on is people are just complaining that it's costing too much. Them paying $5 for every time their kid goes up to the arena is an issue, and it gets expensive. So do they know that there's a season pass? Do they know there's a monthly pass? Should they be complaining?
Well, we don't have a monthly and season pass right now, though.
Okay.
Yeah, this is all,
So this is being implemented in, so this should take care of the problem that has come up.
yes, it should.
Okay, I
It's,
just want to get that straight, because I'm getting
yeah,
confused.
the one thing that I would like to highlight though is like this was generated through the summer open sports program, that a person was concerned about the daily rate. And by the recommendation for this fee, we're increasing the daily rate. After someone came to us to open this open discussion, and that to me is counterintuitive. I mean,
Yeah.
like, I would rather say that, okay, we keep the daily rate, but we increase the rest. Yes, we're not increasing it by 10%, but now we've added options and we haven't increased what their fees were. Because if I was a resident and I put a complaint in and asked for an open public discussion, because I was already having difficulty paying the daily rate, and then the daily rate increased, and then I like the options though of the monthly and the season
Mhm.
being there, you know,
Yes.
so those are options.
Yes.
And then I would be more satisfied at keeping the daily rate. Okay, I can pay daily, or, you know, the month of August, I'll pay the whole month, or I'll pay the whole season.
Exactly.
But we do not have implemented in here as a family plan. this is still per person, per child, per. So that's one
Okay.
option that we could look at, where where we put in a family, you know, I don't know how we want to look at that. And I'm in agreement with the no, weekly, like why add work if we're already offering some
Exactly.
ways to budget financially? Shanna, go ahead.
Another thing regarding the family plan, implementing it, you need to determine what's considered a family. Right?
Mhm.
How many children and who's included in this family, because you can't have somebody, a niece and a nephew going up on a family plan.
No,
That, yeah, but you kind of have to make sure you know that it's a family plan and that tracking as well.
yeah.
Do you think that was maybe one reason why it was stopped, because it got too confusing or overwhelming?
Well, at the time of family plan, it was that Canada 150 skating, and the whole family could go for a whole season for $37.50. So it was more or less just go, everybody go for free. You know, it's just, the prices definitely have to go up if it's gonna be a family plan. Because you have to account for that.
Yeah,
You can't give it away for free.
Yeah, and then when you look at that, how often, like, there's times where parents don't necessarily go with their children. So is it better for them to just buy for their, say if they have 2 kids, and then they pay per use for themselves? I don't know. But then you have to have someone there collecting the money too. So is it better just to get it up front and say, okay, we're gonna have a family plan, and then they're all covered, whether the parents or any child skating or what have you, or participating?
And it's just like any
So-
recreation program for the fitness facility, people buy a monthly pass for $60. If you wanna go 30 days of the month, go for it, and if you wanna go 3,
You
that's
have
what
that
passes
choice.
are for. And no matter what you pay for it, it's your option of when you want to attend. And it just gives them more opening to be able to go up whenever you want. But then there's the daily pass, you can just pay as you go as well. But it's, yeah, it's your choice, and then if you want to utilize it a lot, the family package would be a bang for your buck, probably.
mhm.
But it has to be a reasonable price as well.
Okay, is that everything?
I think so.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's, okay, I think we gotta work this out and make a decision and implement it so that people can actually use the arena and feel good about it.
Mhm.
Okay, so are we in agreement then? We'll scrap the weekly. We'll just go with what's here, but possibly implement a family pass? per
I'm in
each
agreement.
category?
I'm in agreement
with
for
the
that, but yes, to not consider the weekly. I'm in agreement with that. I do have a comment maybe about the family plan, if I may, Madam Mayor.
Yes, go ahead.
The concern with family plan is that unfortunately with our families don't have the nucleus that they're used to, and perhaps with the changing of who's the guardian and who's going to be, how we would be able to really take the onus to be able to make that family plan, to be able to do that when sometimes parents have only custody every second week or that, and then there's stepkids and stuff. So I think the family plan really opens up some things that would really take a lot of staff time, or we'd have to really be able to make sure, because with these blended families, and I have absolutely, I mean, it's a way of life now, and I'm not saying anything to that, but it would be hard to control who makes up that blended family. And unfortunately with relationships that do sometimes change, are we always going to be, as staff, always going to be taking names of, okay, now these people are on part of that plan? So I don't know if the family plan is the greatest idea. I think if we concentrate on making the individual, the single use, slightly lower than it was before, but still then the per month and the per season pass financially viable, and reduce the individual day pass, but it would still be far more economical to take out a season or a monthly pass than what that day pass would be. But take perhaps the changing the 5 to 4 instead of raising that, because as you say, there was a resident who was concerned about that. But that would still be, even if it was changed 5 to 4, if it was used, half a dozen times or 7 times, then they're much further to go ahead by the month. That gains, I think we'll be able to do that. So that would be my concern, tracking the family usage.
I'm hearing you on that, and you wouldn't want to discriminate, and there shouldn't be, staff shouldn't be having to choose that this is a family and this isn't. I'm wondering if we just put a blanket percentage decrease after you've bought 4 to say a maximum of 8 passes, you get 10% off. So if you buy 8 passes or 5 passes, you get 10% off, and then that frees it up. Grandparents can buy their kids' passes, their families' passes, whoever they want, and then they're labeled and named, but they have to be purchased all in one bulk. And then that way and then it might incentivize them being purchased. Does that seem? Go ahead, Councillor Shannon.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. And not to make light of a situation, but we are in Hornepayne where we do have a fairly high affluent income, and I know that we have to look at taking care of our families that don't have that kind of income, the same as some. But this is no different than prioritizing what the family values are going to be, and it's maybe as an observer, we can find funding to do things that aren't family oriented and stuff very easily. It's easy to say, families make that judgment and say, here's the money to go and use for that. This is something where a family has to be on board and make that choice and say, hey, for the betterment of my family, I am willing to invest both into the community and into the families, because we have to still be able to make this functional and financially feasible for the township.
Yes, I think so, but I also disagree that I think there are quite a few families out there that are single parent families and that they cannot afford this. They cannot. They're not going to afford $165 a month, or that's for 5 children, or if they have 3 children, that's $150. We're strapping some families, and we can't just look at that. We have a high medium income average, but if we're not taking care of the least of us in our community, then it's not worth it. Yes, and after this, I'm going to close the public discussion, okay?
I just have a couple of comments. The only thing with now, there's some residents that are unhappy. Then there's several that are using it that have not put in a complaint about the pricing. But the thing is now, if this comes to council, they lower it. Who's to say the next person is going to say, oh, they lowered it for them. I think it's too expensive again.
Well, it can't come, okay, well, after this, it won't come back to council because we won't revisit this for over a year. So it stops it there. So we've done this discussion, and actually it was of council's decision to open up these fees, and we really didn't have to, but we saw that we missed it. We didn't put a per season in, right? We didn't put a monthly in. So there was a miss in our comprehensive user study.
I did have a discussion with somebody, what about implementing some kind of program that they can apply for, improving what their income is. Under a certain income, they could get a discounted rate.
That there puts us into a big privacy issues, and then we have, for the amount of work that would create, I would rather not. I would rather just go for a flat discount or none then. Yeah. Or the other point of that, what I would rather, I think, and we'd have to have a discussion at council and with the staff to bring a report forward and see what programs are out there already, so we're not recreating the wheel at the municipality for social services. So yeah, but it's a good idea, right? We want to help, but at the same time we have to make sure that we're not doing things that are already there provided. But okay, so I'm going to wrap up the public discussion so that we can move forward. And okay, so we are on board for we're in discussion right now to go currently we are at the point where we are going to implement the table provided, but the per session fees will stay with what's in the comprehensive user fee as is. Are we in agreement with that, council?
Yes.
Councillor Shenneman, go ahead. Oh, you're in agreement? Okay. So then we just have to decide if we're going to implement a family pass or some sort of, maybe a bulk buy discount. And I think I'm open for nothing, or if council wants to discuss, I'm just giving ideas on how we can do this. Yes, go ahead.
Sorry, I see that, the economic development.
Okay, go ahead.
In the schedule, are you talking about this one? Because there's two actual sets of numbers.
Yeah, there's two sets of numbers. We're going with the 10% increase, but we're only implementing the single use here. Okay? You've got that, Eileen?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, back to the family pass.
I would like to try your idea, but I would like to revisit it to see how actually it worked within a year time, to see how that actually worked, spanned out, if it was a good thing to try or not.
Okay, when you say the idea is a bulk buy,
Yes.
okay. Do we want to, when is this up for review again? This is a 5-year, right? So we're supposed to do it again in 5 years?
I believe so, but I'm not sure. Melissa, or the treasurer would have to confirm that.
Okay, I'd be all right with that, but I would like to extend that out. I don't want to survey it next year. Like,
Okay.
let's survey it like in 3
5
years,
years,
or
3
yeah,
years.
like right before we do this one, because we're getting caught up on user fees and we
Okay.
have to move.
Yeah,
with other
no, I
things.
agree. It's fine.
Yeah. Are you in agreement with that, Councillor Shenneman? That we put in?
Yes, I'm fine with-
Yes?
Sorry, I'm fine with that, Madam Mayor.
Okay, so my suggestion is a 10% discount between 5 and 8 passes. And you have to buy them all at once. One purchase, you get it if you buy them. And anyone can buy them, they can give them to whoever they want. Is that
That's acceptable. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
okay? Okay, so let's just reiterate that, so we know. So these are the current user fees that are on the schedule per session. I believe those are these here,
Yeah.
this, and this, they will remain the same.
Okay.
And then the rest of these fees with the 10% increase to go with what Hemson has said will be increased. And then did we put in our user fee, I didn't read that, did we put an annual increase, like inflation increase? Because now we're saying this is gonna be our increase for the next 5 years? Or did we put an inflationary amount? Go ahead, Jen.
Did you have a printed copy of the,
Oh, here we go.
files?
Because that would be the time we would do that right now, right? Okay, I'm not seeing one. So I'm wondering if we should institute that as well, council, because if we don't, we're instituting a 5-year comprehensive study with these amounts stagnant. I don't think that's wise.
No.
Councillor Shenneman, what do you think on that?
Yes, that would be prudent, Madam Mayor.
Yeah, to put in, I wonder if Hemson's report actually said something to that effect. I don't have Hemson's report. Go ahead, Jen. Sorry, Eileen, is that all right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm reading, the user fees, like 1999, bylaw 1999.
Okay, did I miss it? Is it in
I
here?
believe so.
Okay, let's find it.
Annual adjustment,
Which page are you on? Oh, there we go.
page 4. I believe that means that it can be adjusted annually each year to accommodate operating costs.
Schedule 17, adjustment against penalties, okay. Okay, but it's only for the fees that are indicated in the appendices of the.
Sorry, Mayor.
No, the adjustments I think refer to, sorry, Eileen, just let me finish my thought here. I think they refer to our non-resident users because it tells you to go to the fee schedule and then there's notes per fee schedule. See, like, I'm looking at F for solid waste tipping, all fees to increase by 10% for non-resident users. So I think those are the adjustments that they're talking about. Unless you're seeing something else. Go ahead.
I think, you know, it says in accordance with section 17, which is referring to itself. But the only time it mentions a schedule is just adding that, one of the considerations for the annual adjustment in Schedule B for jet fuel is the Statistics Canada Industrial Product Price Index. But otherwise, I believe it's.
So there's, undertake a related recreation fee review in 2025,
Okay.
Just looking
Oh,
at,
are you looking, where are you reading that?
that's on,
page 2.
sorry.
Page 2? Okay, go on.
To implement appropriate fee rates and rate structures to achieve the 30% cost recovery target.
Okay, where is it? Which bullet am I looking at?
It's not on the comprehensive user fee. It's back in Melissa's, June 28th report, the 06 one. That's, yeah. And it's on page 2, right? It's the 4th bullet.
Basically that, because of what was going on at the arena, we're gonna have to revisit, right? So once our plans are done at the arena, then we should be able to review and maybe make adjustments to our rates.
Okay, 2025, and this is from this year, so, yeah, that would be better than next year. Go ahead.
And sorry, Mayor Ford, or Council, I just wanted to mention as well on page 4, after the bullets, the same report, page 4, there's an important note, and it speaks to what Councillor Belinda Kistemaker was just mentioning about the capital investment in the arena.
Okay, which one, you're pointing this whole section out, or is there a section?
Yeah, the middle section,
Right
underneath
here?
the bullets.
This here?
Yeah,
Okay.
the paragraph underneath the bullets.
Okay, well, I'm in agreement with 2025. I think that's better than next year. I would even push it out one more, but then you're gonna be in a new council, but. Okay, so we still haven't figured though that there's no inflationary increases to this. So I think we should add that into the bylaw, because we have it open right now. That whatever the inflationary, because it does say that the treasurer will increase by, costs on 18. Counselor Shenaman, do you have the bylaw in front of you, 1999?
Yes, I'm opening that now. Yes, thank you, Madam Mayor.
I'm reading, if you could have a look at section 18, number 18.
So number 18 actually on here, comprehensive, I have refunds will not be issued. So and that's in our bylaw 1999, number 18.
No, you're in schedule
Yeah.
1 of that. Go
So
ahead.
Mayor, for only the 2 pages were attached to the agenda, so council doesn't have the entire comprehensive.
Oh, okay. Sorry about that. You have 2 schedules. Sorry about that, Counselor Shenaman.
Thank you.
So by the reading of what Jen had pointed out, I do think we've allowed that there will be an annual adjustment will be determined annually for the upcoming calendar year by the treasurer with reference to changes in township operating costs, residential and non-residential construction costs, consumer price and indexes, and jet fuel. Authority is delegated to the treasurer to determine the annual adjustment specific for each fee. I'm kind of surprised we did that. That's a lot of weight on one person, but it is there for inflationary measures then. So do we want to just leave it as such for now until we review?
I think so.
Councillor
And
Shenaman?
yes, thank you, Madam Mayor. And I think our understanding probably, I mean, we can never assume, but we'd be looking at if the increase would be like a cost of living allowance increase and nothing, exceptional. But with what the standard of the provincial guidelines would be as a cost of living.
Okay, well, then I think we're settled that we have the increases that will take effect, the per sessions that'll remain the same, and then the added benefit of bulk buying. Are we all in agreement, council?
Yes, thank you, Madam Mayor.
Okay, and then can we make that effective as of today? Or do we need to pass the bylaw at the next meeting?
I will let the deputy clerk speak to that.
Go ahead, Jen.
I believe we can make that effective as of today, as long as we put it in the bylaw that it's effective as of, because you can pass a bylaw with the effective date before it.
Okay, well, we probably need some time for implementation at staff. Like, we don't want people coming in tomorrow to try and get a,
Yeah.
pass, right? So do you want to do it for Monday?
I don't see any issues with that.
Is there anything Melissa will have to put in place for that?
I'm not sure. I can't speak to that.
Well, we'll have to find a way to do it
Mhm,
because that's 3 more weeks.
mhm.
Okay, so I'm okay with Monday or the middle of the week, or we just stick to Monday and.
Perhaps if I can go ahead.
We have passes already made up we can use. There need passes, right?
Oh. So. And I can't speak. I'm not sure how long the process is, so.
Let's just actually printing kind of out there. Should be doable by early next week.
Yeah, I was just going to say, even if we push it to maybe the Wednesday.
Sure. That's, yeah,
19.
that gives you 5 business days. I think that's what I'm trying to figure out. Like, I'm
Yeah.
not just getting, I'm not saying we have to do it Monday. I want a realistic
Yeah,
implementation
just
plan.
don't
Like,
have that information. so
no,
I
that's
can't-
okay.
Yeah.
And we don't want to box you in either, right?
Yeah.
Like, yeah. Okay, why don't we just set it out? Next week's the 17th, the following Monday is the 24th. Let's do Monday, the 24th. And then you have a full week.
Okay,
Okay, is that, council, are you good with that? The implementation of the new schedules will be on July the 24th, which is a Monday.
Yes, thank you, Madam Mayor.
And there's- Yeah, and there's no refunds. We already have that listed in Schedule I, that there'd be no refunds and that we move forward with the scheduling. Okay,
In agreement.
go ahead.
can I
Thank
just
you.
confirm with council? So the changes are, using the 10% or council is implementing the 10%
Just a
increases.
second, let me get to that page so I can see it in front of me. There we go, yes.
So the per season, per month, it will be 10% increases, but the per session will remain at the $5.
That's right.
Perfect, thank you.
And that there's bulk buying.
Yes, between 5 to 8 passes.
Yeah, you have to buy at least 5 and no more than 8. Of all the same pass, right, council? It's one pass. You can buy like 5 skating passes or 5 summer sports. You can't buy one of each.
In agreement. Yes, Madam Mayor.
Okay, so let's clarify that. You're buying one pass of one type between 5 and 8. Okay, and you can have that. I just checked that. The one is there for you.
Perfect, thank you.
Okay, actually, let me check this one. It's there.
Yeah.
Okay, if there's no more further discussion on that, and there's no resolution for that. So I put one last out there for council. Do you have any comments or any further discussion on this now?
I'm
Good?
fine, Madam Mayor.
Okay,
I'm fine,
then we're
Madam Mayor.
moving on. Okay, and you have all your information, Eileen? Okay, great. And thank you again, Shanna, for coming down. We do appreciate it, okay? And you were heard, okay? Okay, moving on to 8.3 is the tender award for the rebranding and marketing. If I can get a mover and a seconder, please. Moved by Councillor Belinda Kistemaker, seconded by Councillor Ted Sheneman. Whereas the township issued a request for proposals, RFP, seeking the services of a consultant or a team of consultants to undertake the creation of a branding and marketing strategy for the Township of Hornepayne. And whereas the township received 5 proposal submissions as follows: Accurate from Ottawa, Ontario, in the amount of $28,820 plus HST. Bankinkin from Picticton, Ontario, in the amount of $59,401.80 plus HST. Cinnamon Toast Media Incorporated from Ottawa, Ontario, in the amount of $30,250 plus HST. SHCG from Bridge, North Ontario, in the amount of $24,900 plus HST. And Syntax Corporation from Carp, Ontario, in the amount of $54,540 plus HST. Whereas members of the senior management team reviewed and compared the above proposals based on the criteria listed in the attached staff report and have identified the proposal from Cinnamon Toast Media Incorporated as the consultants who best understood the scope of the project and who will provide the best value to the municipality. Therefore, be it resolved that the Council of the Corporation of the Township of Hornepayne does, upon the recommendation of the senior management team, does hereby accept the tender submission from Cinnamon Toast Media Incorporated from Ottawa, Ontario, in the amount of $30,250 plus HST to undertake the creation of a branding and marketing strategy and authorize the staff to move forward on this project. Be it further resolved that the funds will be taken from the Rural Economic Development RED Program grant funding. So any comment on the motion? Was there any further discussion from staff?
No, other than what staff has recommended, well, which is to go with the Cinnamon Toast Media.
Okay. Council, any comment? Are you good to put it to a vote?
Yes, Madam Mayor.
Okay, those in favor?
Aye.
And that's carried and opposed. Okay, moving on to 9.1, resolution is the manager's reports. If I get a mover and a seconder, please, to open up the floor. Moved by Councillor Ted Sheneman, second by Councillor Belinda Kistemaker. Be it resolved that the Council of the Corporation of the Township of Hornepayne does hereby acknowledge receipt of the manager's reports provided at the regular meeting of council held on Wednesday, July 12th, 2023. And our first report is the CAO clerk's report. Do you have anything you'd like to add to your report, Eileen?
I don't have anything I need to add to my report note.
Okay, thank you. Any questions or comment from council? Go ahead.
I was just kind of wondering what kind of revisions and law things that you had to deal with the CIP.
So I will ask if the economic development officer can speak to that.
Definitely, go ahead.
So we had 4 pages of comments from MMH. So there was a few things that we had to clean up with the numbers and making examples more clear. And then we worked extensively to make sure that there was maximums and minimums and timeframes and really specific things, so we would be covered financially as a township, so they weren't vague. That's your question.
Sort of. It looks like it was quite extensive. Was it? Yeah. Okay.
It was very extensive.
Oh, yeah.
The EDO had to work quite a bit on it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Any further questions on that? And Councillor Sheneman, could you hear the answer and the response clearly?
Yes, I did. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Okay, great. Okay, did you have a follow-up?
No, I'm fine.
You sure?
Yeah.
Okay. I do have a couple of things. I want to just give a shout out to White River because council did attend the Essential of Municipal Fire Protection and the OCWA Standard of Care training. And it was a long day, but it was a good day. I think we had lots of questions and things generated out of that. And the main reason for my shout out was White River hosted us, and I was thankful for them. And I thank you for asking about the CIP because I had the same kind of questions. I was like, what, oh gosh. The one thing I did want to mention was the Canada Day festivities. I thought it went off amazing. There was all sorts of people downtown. It was really great. I did notice a few things from the Canada Day that I think we should, after discussion at our agenda meeting, possibly send it to the committee for work on it. It goes back to when we had Trunk or Treat, and Trunk or Treat was happening, and it was happening inside of the Sandy area. And for accessibility, we moved it out onto the street so that people with wagons or wheelchairs and that sort of thing could get easily to all of the vendors. And I think we should have some sort of similar map for our downtown street. We had some of the events were happening off, and we should really bring them in so that we have a center corridor so that everyone can play and it's not difficult for parents. And I think I love the suggestion I believe Jen made about this could be committee work and bring it so that we're ahead of the game next year. And we saw all the improvements with what happened with the library and the Trunk or Treat. And the other thing too is shutting down the road. I know there was some confusion of when we should shut down the road. I think as soon as there's people going to set up, man, we shut that road down and it's closed off for the day for the safety of the vendors and the people setting up. And those are just my suggestions to bring to the committee, but I did want to suggest that to and bring those things to council. I don't know if other people from council had participated or been down there.
No, I was there.
Yeah.
I thought it was great.
Yeah, it was great, eh? Yeah. So go ahead, Councillor Sheneman.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. The only point of confusion it was at the beginning was where that opening ceremony was going to take place, because there were us that were gathered down by the fire hall, town hall, and then all of a sudden at last moment it was like, Mayor Cheryl's up at the gazebo. So there was a bit of confusion there. So we'd want to make sure the planning and that was orchestrated and understood clearly beforehand next year.
Yeah, for sure. I agree, because it was spread out at the beginning, for sure. And I was where I was told to be. But I don't want any hand in that. I'll just show up where I need to be. But anyway, yeah. And the other thing too on that is just the kids seeing all the trucks and the equipment, like the CN locomotive went off, great, but so did the fire department trucks and the police and the EMS. And we could have set them up down at the end, down by the fire hall, like at the end of our street. Like we could actually make space for them within the enclosed area as long as the EMS, like our emergency response could get out quickly from where they were parked. But just because that's just another safety issue that I saw where that kids were crossing a main street now that we've closed off and increased traffic on to go and see those vehicles. So that's kind of like, let's put a real scope on the child that's down there having a great time, that person stays safe for the day. So, okay, and I don't know what we need to put that to a committee. How do we?
I don't believe we require anything. It can
No.
just be mentioned at the subcommittee.
Okay, great. Okay, what else did I have there? Oh, that was it. That was all my comments. Thank you for your report, Eileen. Okay, moving on to the treasurer's report. Any questions or comments for the treasurer's report from council? None? Are you good, Councillor Sheneman? I just want to highlight page, I don't know which page it is. I'm on page 81 of the PDF, but, oh, I just lost it. Oh, okay. But anyway, I just wanted to highlight that the AMCTO conference is all listed out and it was amazing. I was like, my goodness, her brain must have hurt at the end of the week. And that's a lot to cram into because that's a lot. And some of the key items that the treasurer got to see are they fit right in line with our strategic planning, especially the long-term financial planning. And it was the public misunderstanding, sidetracking your day. I thought that title was appropriate. Yeah, I was like, I need that session. But anyway, we can just thank the treasurer for her report. Okay, moving on to the Public Works Manager's report. Any questions or comments for the Public Works Manager? Go ahead.
I just wanted to add to the Public Works Manager report, which I confirmed that it was okay with the Public Works Manager, that we've hired 4 students for the summer and they have started as of July 4th.
Okay, great. Okay, so any questions or comments for the Public Works Manager from council? Go ahead, Councillor Shannon.
Thank you to the Public Works Manager through you, Madam Mayor. The electrical and roofing work has commenced on the pavilion restrooms. Is it possible to get a clarification because I've heard a different situation where the roofing that was ordered didn't come in, and then I heard the roofing had arrived but was damaged over the winter. So I'm not sure whether we bought that material twice or what that is. Could we get some clarification if possible, if that's true or untrue, please, sir?
It was delivered during the winter and it was damaged by us. So we had to replace part of the roofing. It's about half that's on there now.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you. Okay, I do have one question. It was about, and this goes back to our budget meeting, and I know that we have our resolution for that. It's about including the hot box in that bigger loan that we had discussed, and if that's going to be looked into. So I just wanted clarification on that.
When we start to commence the budget for 2024, we'll look at that, and because it's with each department manager, so I believe it's something that we want to add onto the budget because it's now, and I think it's on that strat plan as well now. So it's definitely one of the priorities, and we'll get that on there.
Okay, great. Just because what I'm referring to is I know it's on the strat plan, but on that list that we had, it wasn't there. And I thought of it after, which was too late, right? So, okay, just as long as we include it. Okay, any other further questions for the Public Works Manager? Okay, there being none, we'll move on. Thank you, Dwayne. To the Economic Development Officer. Okay, I open up the floor for, or do you have any questions or additions to your report? Sorry?
I just want to add one thing that I didn't actually put in here. I didn't have the information at the time, but the community improvement plan will do the draft presentation in the statutory public meeting on the September 20th agenda.
Oh, really? Oh, can we change the date? I'm not here that day.
You can look at it. We'd be pushing it back a month.
We'd be putting it back a month? Why a month?
Well, to the next meeting.
Oh, I think we have one on the 4th, don't we? October 4th? Can we do it
The
2
next one
weeks
is
later?
October 4th and then 18th.
Okay, so I can ask the consultants if they're available on the 4th and the 18th.
Yeah, I would appreciate that.
Yeah, I
Yeah, I'm not gonna be here on the 20th, so, and sorry, Belinda, I haven't told you that yet, but. Didn't mean for you to find out this way, but.
So we have lots of lead time, so I'll just send out the email.
Yeah, that would be, I want to be there for that, so, okay. But thank you for the update. That's great that it's coming to council. I'm excited. That's, it took so much work to get that done because we had to do all that other stuff first. It's like, yeah. Okay. Okay, so I open up the floor for any comments or questions on the report.
I must say, I'm so excited for branding to start. Really am. About time.
Okay, and then so we're gonna have 2 more RFPs going out for the market gap analysis and then the baseball.
Market gap is, I guess. I'm putting out the market gap analysis on the 14th, so in 2 days.
Oh, this month.
Yes.
Okay.
We're just doing a final review of it and then it'll go, I didn't want to put them out at the same time, so we're grinding tomorrow and the gap analysis.
Okay, and then we'll follow the same route for the baseball field. Right when that one's done, we'll do the next one.
Well, if I can get it done, yeah.
I'm not trying to make a timeline. I'm just trying to set it straight in my own mind, okay? And that's a confusing place up there.
So, we'll see when the baseball time gets done and bring on the public holiday next week. So.
Oh, okay. But I'm thinking it's like gonna be beginning of September or something then, or whatever, right? Because how long are the RFPs open for?
This one's gonna close August 2nd.
Oh, okay. So that's a shorter time frame than I even thought.
It's more analytical, not as much, public consultation and stuff. This is a really statistical report, so it shouldn't take consultants as long.
Okay, great. Counselor Shenneman, I see you unmuted. Go ahead.
Thank you. On our other projects updates, we received resignation from Sherry Borg on June 12th, our revitalization coordinator RED grant. How does that affect your process, or how does that affect you? Does that affect any of your timelines, or are we okay with that? Like, is there anything that we need to do to help you with that? Is there anything that comes on board, and are you affected detrimentally, I guess, is really what we want to know. Thank you.
So definitely, for sure. So, all the deliverables that are in the RED program are now my responsibility. So I will be very, very busy for the next month and a half completing all those deliverables.
Is there, would it be beneficial to provide any sort of secretarial support or something of that nature to help you where it's not so much like that they have to have economic development qualifications or some sort of assistance support in that to make it through that timeline? Like,
I would have to kind of look at the deliverables to see, like I'm the rebranding and the marketing part of that, and I'm writing a business attraction and retention plan right now in investment readiness study. So,
well, I'm wondering, is it in our preview to allow the casual to work more hours in assistance? If it's assisting, like if it's not assisting, that, you know what I mean, right? Like,
yeah.
The casual admin assistant that we hired.
Yeah.
She also has her full-time position, so she's not, like, we have to give her quite a bit of notice to,
okay.
like, she might essentially not be available in the capacity or the time that Stacy, the EDO, would need her in.
Okay.
So something we can look into, look at the requirements and see if it would be beneficial. And
Yeah, yeah. Well, my concern is we don't want to get in a position where we're, not meeting deadlines, because then that hinders us for our next fundings, right? And I realize we wouldn't be able to just hire somebody to fill Shelley's shoes in that sense, but if it's other supports that you could use, like even writing reports or that sort of thing. But
forgive me if I'm wrong in saying this, but I believe that it's work that only really can be done by you, just because you're writing it and you're creating it as you go and you're familiar with it. So we would have to see where an assistant or a casual assistant would be able to assist, but I'm not sure if it would really like help in this.
and revisions, yeah, maybe proofreading, something, I don't know.
Yeah.
I leave it, I think what council's saying, what Councillor Sheneman brought up, and I speak for Belinda, correct me if I'm wrong, is that if supports are needed, we should get the supports, because we can't, it just can't be overworked. And even if it's the revisions or something where you can hand it off and then you go to the next thing and go back to it. And I'm not sure if we have the ability to do a quick contract position for that. That might be in your delegation of authority to be able to hire for that, because there might be some people that would
It
be,
would probably end up being more work.
Okay.
Because we would have to create the job description, put it out, do the interview, and there's all that time, so.
And-
honestly, with this tight timeline, maybe the casual, but to hire someone would be, I think it would just be more work than.
okay, yeah. Well, it's unfortunate that our casual is not more flexible.
I mean, we just need to give her notice, and then, because she does have a full-time job, it makes sense, but, she's definitely available when we ask, but we just need to give her a bit more notice. But it makes sense, it's a part-time, or it's a contract position, right? So,
Is that my phone? That might be mine. It'll stop at some point. Okay, I have no more questions. Thank you for your report. Stacy, any further questions from council?
Nothing further.
Okay. I put that to acknowledge receipt of the manager's reports to a vote. Those in favor? And that is carried, none opposed. Okay, moving on to correspondence action items. If I can get a mover and a seconder, please. Moved by Councillor Belinda Kistemaker, second by Councillor Ted Sheneman. Whereas the council has received correspondence from the city of Woodstock regarding their request for amendments to the Highway Traffic Act, HTA, and whereas speeding is a major and commonly occurring concern in all areas of the community, and whereas the barriers and delays to enforcement, especially in the north remote communities, increases the dangers associated with speeding, and whereas the Township of Hornepayne has limited resources to implement speed mitigation, road design and redesign, and whereas our local police service has limited resources to undertake speed enforcement, and whereas S205.1 of the Highway Traffic Act, HTA, provides that automated speed enforcement systems, ASE, may only be placed in designated community safety zones and school safety zones. Therefore, be it resolved that the Council of the Corporation of the Township of Hornepayne does hereby support the City of Woodstock's request that the Ontario government amend Section 205.1 of the HTA to permit municipalities to locate an ASE system permanently or temporarily on any roadway under the jurisdiction of municipalities and is determined by municipalities and not be restricted to only community safety zones and school safety zones. Be it further resolved that a copy of this resolution be forwarded to the Honorable Carol Mulrooney, Minister of Transportation, the Honorable Steve Clark, Minister of Municipal Affairs and Housing, Michael Mantha, MPP Algoma Manitoulin, and the Association of Municipalities of Ontario, AMO, with a copy to the City of Woodstock. Any further discussion on the motion? There being none, I put that to a vote. Those in favor? And that is carried, none opposed. Okay, item 10.2, 10.3, and 10.4. Eileen, would you like to speak to these?
Yes, I would just like to let council know that for items 10.2 and 10.3, there are comment periods should council wish to provide comments. So the 10.2 item, the comment period ends on August 11th. And for 10.3, the comment period ends September 5th. And for 10.4, it's just a survey about 6 minutes. So I just wanted to let council know that information.
Is there a deadline on the survey?
It does not state a deadline, no.
Okay. Any further discussion on any of those 3 items? Okay, there being none, we'll move on. Correspondence for information only, if I can get a mover and a seconder, please. Moved by Councillor Belinda Kistemaker, second by Councillor Ted Shannon. Be it resolved that the Council of the Corporation of the Township of Hornepayne does hereby acknowledge receipt of the correspondence information only package attached to the agenda of the regular meeting of council held on Wednesday, July 12th, 2023. And do you have any comments from council on any of the items in section 11? Okay, I know Irene, you'd like to speak to a couple.
I just wanted to bring attention to council, or just bring attention to council item 11.3, just because it's really relevant to Ontario pretty much at this point. So yeah, just take a read, or if you can, take a look at that.
Okay, thank you for that. And I believe as well, Jen wanted to point out 11.2, that website is quite informative as well.
Yes, I forgot about that one, thank you.
No, that's all right. Any further comments from council? Okay, there being none, I put that acknowledge receipt of the information only package to a vote. Those in favor? And that is carried and opposed. Okay, moving on to 12. 12.1 is the NOMA report. If I can get a mover and a seconder, please. Moved by Councillor Ted Shenneman, second by Councillor Belinda Kistemaker. Be it resolved that the council does hereby acknowledge receipt of the NOMA board meeting summary report for June 20th, 2023, as prepared by Andrea Swanson, or Stawson. That is not how her name is spelled, is it? Oh, okay. Executive Director of Northwestern Ontario Municipal Association, NOMA. And I apologize, Andrea, I've been saying your name wrong since I met you. I do have a couple comments on this report. Let me just get down to it. I put my notes is there's a couple of items that they've listed out there. One that, and I'm going to follow up with Andrea about the caribou. This is affecting our forest and in the Northeast because we have regulations that have been quite extensive that have been done at the province level. And this goes back to the days when I was on the LCC as a secretary 20 some years ago. And what's happening is the federal government is looking at imposing restrictions, saying we're not doing this good enough. And we really need to have a voice in this. So anyway, I just want to reach out and talk to her and see which communities are most active. So we stay on top of that. And then there was one other item. Sorry, my PDF shut again, guys. And the other comment that I did have was, if you can see it, it says about a virtual option for municipalities to meet with ministers. And that was another thing that I just wanted to follow up with Andrea. And I also was going to follow up with Rick Dumas to see if he was our actual community rep for NOMA, because I know we're represented, Belinda, from yourself with the Thunder Bay Municipal League.
Mm-hmm.
And do you recall who's the Thunder Bay Municipal League rep to NOMA?
I thought it was him.
Was Rick?
Yeah.
Okay, and Rick sits on that as well?
I think so.
Okay, that's why I mentioned his name in our agenda meeting, because that's what popped up first. Anyway, I'll reach out to Rick and see,
Mhm.
and I'll bring that update to council when I find out in August.
And I believe that I remember this coming up at the Thunder Bay. I've seen this before. I know I've seen this before.
Okay. Yeah, so I got it corrected. It is Strawson. Because the report says Strawson. Okay, I take that back. I've been saying your name right. So she spelled her name wrong on her own. I'm gonna correct her on that. I'm gonna, Andrew, what are you doing? Okay, but anyway. We'll just make that minor adjustment, Jen. You can take care of that. Okay, that's something you can do. Okay. Any other further comments on that? My one last comment is I do want to say, like, the reports that she's been giving out since she's been the executive director of NOMA have been, like, it's amazing how informative they are, especially the learning lunches too. When she sends those out, there's quite a bit of information in there. Okay, if there's no further comments, I'll put that to a vote. Those in favor? And that is carried, none opposed. Okay, 12.2 is the Hornepayne Housing Corporation Board Minutes. If I can get a mover and a seconder, please. Moved by Councillor Ted Sheneman, second by Councillor Belinda Kistemaker. Be it resolved that the Council of the Corporation of the Township of Hornepayne does hereby acknowledge receipt of the minutes from the Hornepayne Housing Corporation Board meetings held on the following dates. Monday, June 7th, 2021, and these are regular meetings. Monday, July 12th, 2021, Monday, August 16th, 2021, Thursday, October 21st, 2021. This is a special meeting with the next two being special meetings. Monday, November 15th, 2021, Monday, November 29th, 2021. Monday, December 6th, 2021, regular meeting. Thursday, December 9th, 2021, regular meeting. Monday, January 10th, 2022, special meeting. Monday, January 17th, 2022, regular meeting. Monday, January 21st, 2020, special meeting. Monday, March 7th, 2022, regular meeting. Monday, April 4th, 2022, regular meeting. Monday, April 28th, 2022, regular meeting. Monday, July 25th, 2022 regular meeting, Monday, August 8th, 2022 regular meeting, Wednesday, August 31st, 2022 regular special meeting, Wednesday, September 14th, 2022 regular meeting, Monday, October 3rd, 2022 regular meeting, Monday, November 7th, 2022 regular meeting. And I just do want to comment on this is that we are getting things organized at the Hornepayne Housing Corporation, and that after our board meeting, we'll have our full board report that'll come to the council table with the rest of the minutes right up to our last approved minutes or past minutes. Some of the minutes that are missing from this list in those years, I believe we have somewhere around 8 outstanding minutes just because we need to finalize with signatures. So if there's any question or comment on those minutes. Okay, there being none, I put it to a vote. Those in favor? And that is carried, none opposed. Okay, 12.3 is the Hornepayne Housing Corporation National Housing Strategy Accelerator Fund. And so this was brought to council because the board met. So it would have been nice to have all of council here to hear where we're going. So the board had a discussion at the end of June at their regular meeting about which action plan they'd like to go forward with and what those points would create. And there was different topics discussed, but we think that would fit the best with the requirements to be met in the accelerator fund is going forward with the tiny homes strategy and district heating system included in that. And basically we brought this back to council so that we don't do any work before council is aware of that and they're in support of that strategy. We have identified 8 properties that are close together on Spruce Street and Becker Road that would fit our purposes. So I open up the floor for questions. Councillor Sheneman, go ahead if you like.
Thank you. I had wrote a note and I was wondering, would existing homes on Spruce be able to or be invited to join that district heating system?
That could possibly be a possibility. The base of the accelerator fund is we have to increase building permits by a certain percentage to qualify. So our building permits need to increase by about 50 over 3 years. So, so what we're looking at is a couple of things that could be included. Now the board has to decide on their action plan, but some of the ideas that could be is that the missing middle, which allows in our official plan for tiny homes or nanny suites, if you want to call them that, we could say if we were buying bulk, we could offer that out to people if they wanted to put one on their property. So that would increase building permits. It's not just us that have to increase the building permits, it's across the community. We did talk about building the district heating plan. Now, mind you, this was just a brainstorming session of finding out what that tipping point is where we lose the heat and the benefit from it. So it would depend on how big it is. There was a further discussion is that there are properties that we may consider in the future on Spruce Street, on the other side of Spruce Street, that are empty right now. I think there's 6, I believe. I'm just going off the top of my head there. There's more than 4. And we talked about possibly running a secondary feed to that. So it would depend on the system and what we could afford, really. Yes. Any other questions on that? Does that answer your question, Ted? I can't say yes
Yes,
or no, really. Until
Yes.
the board decides.
Yes, that's satisfactory. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Okay, thank you. So what we're looking for today for the board is we did get your resolution to go ahead with applying for the accelerator fund. We thought it was prudent to bring it back to council to show you the course of action of where we are going. So you see the motion that's on the floor is basically further support of the original support that you gave us, but it's outlining a tiny home plan. And then the full plan will come back to council for approval once it's created. Okay, so I'll put if I can get a mover and a seconder for the motion, and then I can read it out, we can have further discussion. Moved by Councillor Ted Cheneman, second by Councillor Belinda Kistemaker. Whereas council passed resolution number 2023-2020 at the regular meeting of the House, on June 21st, 2023, in support of the Hornepayne Housing Corporation, HHC's application to the Housing Accelerator Fund, HAF, for the National Housing Strategy. And whereas the HHC has since provided further information about their proposed plan, which is to create a tiny home community within the Township of Hornepayne. Therefore, be it resolved that the Council of the Corporation, the Township of Hornepayne, does hereby provide in principle support for the Hornepayne Housing Corporation, HHC's tiny home community. Is there any further questions on that? Okay, there being none, I put that to a vote. Those in favor? And that is carried, none opposed. Okay, we'll do council community committee updates, and then we are going to take a 5-minute break or 10-minute break. Okay, Belinda, would you like to start?
I don't have anything right now.
Yay, that's easy. Councillor Cheneman, go ahead.
Just from the hospital, I did forward an email that I received from the Heather at the hospital, our CEO, that in response to our question about the timing of the evacuation, and I do believe that Eileen said that will be addressed on an upcoming meeting. Thank you. And that's all the report, Madam Mayor.
Okay, great for that. Thank you for looking into that, Councillor Cheneman. I look forward to the discussion. The only thing that I'd like to bring up, though, I've mentioned this a couple of times at council now, so I didn't know how to approach this so that we brought enough information to council for their approval. I think there is a big issue here that's developing within our community, is our newcomers that are in our community that have work permits that don't allow them to become permanent residents. And I've been conversing with one individual on this, and he indicated that there are possibly more that would be in the same boat. So I suggested that we all meet together, and I set up a meeting coming this Saturday at 1 p.m. Eileen has graciously offered, I asked if she could come and support me with note taking, just so we capture everything. And my hope is that we do find some solution that we could move forward as council, like possibly supporting that the rural immigrant portal be to encompass smaller communities like ours, the pilot project, because we're going to lose residents to these bigger centers, because those work permits that they're working under in Hornepayne, my understanding is if they were in Sault Ste. Marie, they would qualify, but they don't qualify because they're here in our community. So that's my understanding right now. I have reached out to Sault Ste. Marie's rural immigrant portal, the pilot portal. And so I have a meeting set up with them as well to further discuss. We've had 2 phone conversations as well, but she wants to look into finding me someone above a management role that can answer my questions more clearly. So So anyway, so this will come back to council in August and we'll see if we can support or help. And the only other thing that I think I'd probably do is I'm gonna reach out to the mill to find out who their contacts are. So I don't want to recreate the wheel or disrupt anything that's happening. We just want to ensure that people that want to live here and work here can and become residents of our community and not another community. So do you have any questions on that for me or no? Have you heard of anything in the community yourself? Has anyone approached either of you about this?
No, Madam Mayor.
Okay, and if you know of anyone that may fit in this segment of, predicament, I guess, you can let them know that it's going to be at the HHC. I decided to use the boardroom there for the meeting just because it's way more accessible and I don't have to open. I can see people coming, it's not in the basement here. So it was all because of accessibility. Okay. And the only other, just a few other updates. I am going to attend the second fire session meeting that's happening. I believe it's on the 20th of this month. It's just updates that the provinces are providing and they sound pretty informative. And I am going to be going to see Dr. Verma in Wawa on the 24th or the 25th of the month. The 25th in Wawa. And I'm looking forward to that. And I have to give a shout out to her office because she reached out to me to meet ahead of the actual scheduled time. So I'll have an hour with her one-on-one, I believe, before our meeting. So that's great. And I'll bring a full update for council at our next council meeting for those two things. Okay. And that's it. And if we can take a 5-minute break or an 8-minute break and resume at 8 o'clock. Thank you.
Yeah. Wait, I think I got it.
We're good to go? Okay, great. Okay, new and other business, so we're on 13.1. And so I asked Eileen to bring the topic of my cell phone to the table. We did have our council review last year and of compensation for our cell phones, and we do get a certain amount of compensation. So there's twofold to this. What's happening from my perspective is I do think it's imperative that the mayor have their own phone that's completely for council business and for mayor business. And second of that is I think it would set up whoever's in my position after me for success, because I can have all the contacts, everything in that phone, because when I leave, my phone's coming with me. It's not council property. And then it frees up. The other thing that I'm concerned about is that that's my work phone, and I'm not sure how, like, if anything was to happen at the municipality where we were under investigation, what have you, I would lose my phone. And I feel like that's too big of a risk for me to take. So I'm asking, I don't mind taking the adjustment on the monthly amount, or we just get a phone on top of that. And I would put it as the mayor's phone number, and that it goes to the next mayor. Like it would be their phone, and I would use it as such, like just like this laptop or the iPad or what have you. So that's why I've got it on there. And it's up to council to decide whether we want to bring something forward or continue as is. And I remove myself from that part of the discussion. So I'll let Belinda, you can discuss with, if you want to bring it back, it would have to come back to the next meeting for.
I'm not sure of the exact process.
Is there a declare accomplishment?
No, after the discussion, this would have to come back to the next meeting, right?
Yes, we would need to amend the bylaw.
Yes. And yes, I am currently declaring a conflict on this topic, yes. And I'll let Belinda take over.
I have no problem with the mayor having their own cell phone, and I think it's actually a good tool for going for the mayor to have going forward. And it's not like it's not being passed on or anything, it's going to the next mayor. Ted, would you have anything to say on this?
No, I'm fine with that. I think the mayor should have her own cell phone. It should be part of the township's allotment.
Going forward, how should we proceed on this?
I'm going to ask the deputy clerk to provide some instructions on that.
So we'll have to talk to the treasurer when she gets back, because she's money person. But we'll have to amend the council of remuneration and expenses bylaw to include that provision, because right now it only has for personal phones, the amount that you can get per month for personal phone use for business. So we have to amend that just to include the ability to have.
I just have one question, and it's mainly, because you have supplied us with a computer and a laptop going forward, okay, like we have these things, like they're tools for us to use while we are on council. Wouldn't a cell phone be part of that?
If I may.
Because
Yeah.
it's
It would, but because right now paying like specifically part of your monthly like allowance is to pay for your personal phone for work business, it would have to amend this just to include that or reflect the option to have a paid phone.
So, just to speak to that, it's in the email, it's the first attachment, mayor's cell phone. That link just explains, if you scroll down to the bottom of it, it just says that members of council shall be provided a monthly allowance of 150 for incidental costs associated with local mileage, home internet use, and personal cell phone use. So there's nothing indicating in there that they're for the extra,
The extra tool, because it's a tool, a tool for the job,
yeah.
you know, so would does it fall in the same criteria as that? I don't think so. And unless you have to look at it a different way. I don't know.
And I believe Stacy has something to add.
I think I would agree with what she's saying. She's not saying about the personal use.
No.
I'm just saying it would be part of the.
Yes.
So that the bylaw would have to be amended, but you're saying it more as a part of the tools, the equipment costs of a counselor, our mayor as she comes in.
Yeah.
Would still have to go into a bylaw.
Yeah,
To say that you were gonna do that, so you'd have to,
amend the bylaw.
yeah, Jen would have to bring it back.
That's how I look at it. It's another tool for the trade. So.
Yeah.
Ted, do you agree with me or?
I agree, and sorry, excuse me. Yes, I agree that it needs to be a tool of the trade. It needs to be something that I believe separate from the personal, especially with both the contacts and with the context of the importance of being available. That it needs to be separate. I would think that we need to find a way to make an allowance for that.
Thank you. Are we okay?
Yeah,
Okay.
that's why I said ask treasurer, because I don't know how any of it works.
Okay.
But yeah, she would know how to implement all of that.
Okay, yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Do we know if Mayor Ford has her phone or is?
If I may.
Go ahead.
Okay, I would think the only thing we might want to talk about are parameters of what that budget might be is if we were to do that. We might want to maybe put some guidelines or around acquiring that, what we would do either both for the value or the plan. There might be some guidelines, and I'm not sure exactly how we would come up to that, but there should be something so it's not just carte blanche.
May I make a suggestion? I know that, I think in Duberville, the mayor has her own phone. That would be a good contact to ask how she deals with that.
Okay, yeah, I can reach out to the Duberville mayor or
I think it
perhaps
was
the
her.
CAO.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was that one.
And seeing as this would come back on the 16th, we can also, Melissa, the treasurer, comes back on July 31st, so we can also talk with her and see what the next steps are. We'll make the changes so that the bylaw stipulates that the mayor will have her own cell phone.
Okay.
And the parameters, place of parameters for council to see. Sorry. And we can call the mayor back in. If
I can do that.
Oh, not sure if that was done properly, but kind of overtook the ball, sorry.
Me?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
No, I said I overtook.
Oh, you gotta guide me on the line.
I need them to guide me.
Great guys.
Okay.
So we're good to carry on with your 13.2? Okay, great. Okay, we need to set a special town hall meeting so we can discuss a date. The suggested date I was thinking was September 13th, the Wednesday at 6 PM at the Legion. that work for everyone? Where's Ted? Is Ted still there?
He
Yes,
was.
he's been, yeah.
Oh, there he is. Oh, okay. You're on mute, Counselor Sheneman.
Sorry, my phone had died. I changed devices and I lost the camera. Sorry. We're back.
Oh, no, that's fine. I just wanted to make sure you're there, so we have quorum. So we're looking at 13.2, setting a special meeting for the town hall, and I had suggested September 13th at 6 PM at the Legion. Does that work for you, Counselor Sheneman?
I'm fine with that, Madam Mayor.
Okay. Counselor Kistemaker? Okay, I'll, if I can get a mover and a seconder then. Moved by Counselor Belinda Kistemaker, seconded by Counselor Ted Sheneman. Be it resolved that the Council of the Corporation of the Township of Hornepayne does hereby set an in-person special meeting of council on Wednesday, September 13th, 2023 at 6 PM at the Royal Canadian Legion located at, what's the street? 6th Avenue? 48 6th Avenue. We will ensure that the correct location is in the resolution. Hornepayne, Ontario, for the purpose of a town hall meeting. Those in favor? And that is carried, none opposed. Okay. Okay, our next is the key considerations from council deliberations on the 2023 municipal budget. If I get a mover and a seconder, please. Moved by Councillor Belinda Kistemaker, second by Councillor Ted Sheneman. Whereas council deliberations on the 2023 municipal budget took place at their regular meeting of council held on May 31st, 2023, and whereas council directed staff to provide reports in the near future on specific topics, and whereas council directed staff to provide this resolution to those listed topics. Therefore, be it resolved that the Council of the Corporation of the Township of Hornepayne does hereby request staff reports on the following topics: funding options for the Third Avenue project with directions to look at opportunities to stack funding and how other municipalities pay for similar projects, and to invest the need to push for further funding opportunities. FCM Green Municipal Fund for the arena and curling club surfaces with further detail is how this fund works, the steps needed to apply, the effect on the budget each year, the expected savings for each year, the rate of return, and the overall yearly breakdown. Additional funding for the arena project phase 1, investigation of the private investment options, long-term loans, fundraising, donations, sponsorship, etc. And additional long-term loan for public works capital items, investigate loan prices, ability to purchase items over multiple years, list of equipment and the years they were purchased, the state they're currently in, recommendations of when to replace them, and estimates of cost. We have further resolved that these reports are to be completed in time for the 2024 municipal budget. Any discussion on the motion? None? Councillor Sheneman, you're good? Okay, I'll put that to a vote. Those in favor? And that is carried, none opposed. Yes, go
Sorry, Mayor
ahead.
Ford, I just wanted to ask if you were still going to proceed as per our agenda review, prioritizing items. So SMT knows which reports to.
Yeah, we could definitely do that. I wasn't sure about that, if council was going to want that or not, so that's why
Okay.
there's no, but we can definitely, I was just in the agenda meeting, what Eileen's referring to was that I had thought that the arena project, because some of the reports, if we wait till the 2024 budget to inform the budget, we're losing time on, if we do fundraising. That was my key, is that we'll lose time. So do we want to prioritize which ones come first so that we have them at council's disposal? Councillor Sheneman, do you have, I see you're unmuted, so.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I would think the Third Avenue project certainly needs to be at the forefront of our thoughts and process to be able to do that. And that would be, to me, that would be what I would think would be the number one concern. And although some may disagree, I think the additional long-term loan for the public works capital items should be prioritized also. And so I would put that number 2 on my list, and then the additional funding for the arena project in third. Just my view.
Okay. Counselor Kinsmaker, do you have any comments?
To me, they're all important.
Yeah, they're all, like, it's not the matter of importance, they're all importance. I was more looking at them from timelines, because we have more time for the Third Avenue project.
Yeah.
And we know that the Third Avenue project is gonna be a loan, okay? We
Yeah.
are not gonna be able to fundraise for that. I'm sorry, that's like pulling teeth.
Mhm.
So it's a matter of finding those funding options. And if someone wants to disagree and think we can fundraise, I'm open to that discussion, but I'm pretty heavy set on that. So I had it, this was the way I had it, and this is my thinking, was that's the furthest one out. We know it's a loan, so we have to look at different areas, what we are available to us existing. The second one I put is the 3, the municipal fund for the arena, because that's our phase 2 to the arena. And we really can't move anything on that as well, because we still are waiting for the change of scope even for that, because some of those things are affected, but it's like all the work that we can do ahead of time, and then where are we going as soon as we receive change of scope. And then I had the additional funding for the arena project as 1, because that's immediate concern. If hopefully the change of scope comes through, this could be something that we're doing next year. And the quicker we start finding the capital for that, the better. The quicker we put in, if we're going to do a donation scheme or that sort of thing, the better. The way I look at that is each month that we aren't capturing revenue, say if there was a plan, say of a donation monthly giving plan to this, each month you're losing that money. You can't regain that time back as we get closer to the ribbon cutting. So that was my thoughts there. And then I actually had the long-term loan for public works as 2 as well. So it was just the other one was flipped for timelines.
I'm good with what you just said.
Yeah, and they'll all be done this year. Like all of them are going to be informed this year's budget for 2024, like for next year's budget. It's just to ensure that the one that they come out in a timely manner, I guess. Councillor Sheneman?
I'm fine with that, Madam Mayor.
Okay, do we need to change anything for that, Eileen?
No.
So we prioritize 1, like the third bullet 1, the fourth bullet 2, and then 4 and 3?
And then the first one is 4 and the second one is 3.
Yeah, and they're all coming out for the budget. So.
I was
Go
gonna
ahead,
say,
Jen.
we don't have to change, the motion at all, this is
No.
just to inform. staff.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Okay, well, that was a good discussion, and we are gonna include the hot box in that as well, so, any further discussion from council?
No,
No?
and no.
Fine, Madam Mayor.
I just,
Yeah, go ahead, Councillor Shannon. You're fine?
Yes, thank you, Madam Mayor. Fine.
Councillor Kissmaker?
I'm glad we're listening to these things, so we're all on the same page and we're all being informed and we're not questioning, and it's good.
Okay. Okay, and if there's any, no further discussion, we'll put that to a vote. Those in favor? And that is carried, none opposed. Okay, item number 14 is the bylaw for a municipal energy plan, which is all complete. If I can get a mover and a seconder, please. Moved by Councillor Belinda Kistemaker, second by Councillor Ted Shannon. Be it resolved that the bylaw number 2017 being a bylaw to adopt Township of Hornepayne's municipal energy plan, MEP, be hereby read a first and second time and considered read a third time and finally passed. Is there any discussion on the bylaw? Okay, there being none, I don't have any discussion points. I put that to a vote. Those in favor? And that is carried, none opposed. Okay, now we're moving into a closed session, so if I can get a mover and a seconder to move into close, please. Moved by Counselor Ted Sheneman, second by Counselor Belinda Kistemaker. Be it resolved that the next portion of the meeting at 8:21 PM be closed to the public in order to discuss personal matters about an identifiable individual, including municipal or local board employee, and a position plan, procurement criteria, or instructions to be applied to any negotiation carried on or to be carried on behalf or on behalf of the municipality or local board pursuant to section 239 2BK of the Municipal Act 2001. Those in favor? And that's carried. Okay. Okay, great. If I can get a mover and a seconder to return to open, please. Moved by Councillor Belinda Kistemaker, second by Councillor Ted Sheneman. Be it resolved that the Council of the Corporation of the Township of Hornepayne does hereby return to open at 9:01 p.m. Those in favor? And that is carried. So business arising from the closed session. The first two items we can't discuss, that is related to personnel and staffing. But the third item we will be issuing a request for quotes, yes, quotations for garbage pickup and landfill transfer station operations as our current agreement's coming to expire. And if I can move on to the adjournment, if I can get a mover and a seconder, please. Moved by Councillor, I have the confirmatory bylaw first. If I can get a mover and a seconder for that, please. Moved by Councillor Belinda Kistemaker, second by Councillor Ted Sheneman. Be it resolved that bylaw number 2018, being a bylaw to confirm the proceedings council at the regular meeting held on Wednesday, July 12, 2023, be hereby read a first and second time, be considered read a third time, and finally passed. Those in favor? And that is carried, none opposed. And if I can get a mover and a seconder to adjourn, please. Moved by Councillor Belinda Kistemaker, second by Councillor Ted Sheneman. Be it resolved that council does hereby adjourn this regular meeting of council on Wednesday, July 12th, 2023 at 9:02 p.m. Those in favor? And that is carried, none opposed. Okay.